So I've been renting exotic cars for almost 20 years now, and I can tell you there's not very many other people that can say that. And now there's a lot of people that are out there that are renting exotic cars, which are happy to tell you how to do it, how it's the easiest money they've made, how they're going to sell you an ebook as to how this business works. And I'll tell you what, it's not that simple. I can tell you some certainties that if you think it's that easy, you're wrong. And if you have enough money to make it work and enough brain power to make it work, I assure you, you can make more money doing something else. Those are two guarantees when it comes to trying to start an exotic car rental company. So why would you do it? I was young, didn't have money, we had a little bit of credit, and it was also a different time. So you were able to get insurance. The big factors that are preventing people from getting into renting cars now are insurance and then borrowing. So everybody that is renting cars, I would say 95% of them, the Huracans and the Uruses that you go out and get, are not insured properly and they're not registered properly. And I've done this exercise. I was working with a big YouTuber recently and I ended up having to rent, they needed 9 Huracans. And I'm like, ooh, I've got one. And they're like, all right, I've got none because I've got a white one. So I needed, but I'm the guy who gets things done. So I needed to go source 9 Lamborghini Huracans for this guy. And so I ended up renting virtually every available Lamborghini in the blast radius of New York. And I've learned some things about that. I learned that a lot of the guys use Turo. Like the one guy brought his car in, he had like, oh, don't mind the brakes. And I'm like, you can't just switch over to steel brakes. It's going to sound like a dump truck. You have to get Lamborghini parts, put Lamborghini parts in the Lamborghini. It sucks, but you can't nickel and dime it. The cars were fairly rough, especially the ones with real miles on them. Another one I went to drive, and I'm like, there's no way this thing's got 2,000 miles on it. Fast forward, it didn't have 2,000 miles on it. I had my buddy look up, hey, how do you turn it's called super kilometer filter. I'm like, how do you turn the kilometer stopper off on this car? And he looks it up online. He's like, oh, you push this button and hold it for 6 seconds and it'll flash the lights. I'm driving along, hold it, kills the odometer. And I'm like, all right, that makes sense. Now, I knew there was no way that a brand new, like 21 Huracan Evo with 2,000 miles is rattling, is squeaking, is all sorts of nonsense. I wish, and there's a business out there, which Ed Bolian, the guy sitting right there in this closet, is going to do. He's going to prevent people from, or at least identify cars that are being rolled back by looking up parameters, and that's where I'm going to stop it. He's going to invent that business, and he'll be able, through VINwiki, to teach you if a car, with a good probability, whether a car has been rolled back or not. So a lot of these companies are not going to be able to operate the way they do. And a lot of these guys operate without any of the overhead that an actual rental car company would have. Depreciation, which is you put miles on it, it's worth less. Maintenance expense, again, like if your car's out of warranty, you have to get it maintained. But if these guys are running warranty forever because they're rolling back their cars, then they're not paying for that. Interest expense through a commercial line of credit, not like I'm going to go find a guy, arbitrage his personal car into my rental fleet, and then when something goes wrong, be like, hey, sorry, that's on you, pal. You shouldn't have rented it out. And that's what ends up happening. You get a lot of guys who all they're doing is becoming middlemen, and that's not a business you want to be. You never want to be the middleman. But they're grabbing cars, they're renting them out on a platform, they're managing the fleet, but it's got a gypsy rental car company because you don't have rental cars and you don't have rental insurance. So when something goes wrong, everybody goes running like somebody tossed a grenade into the room, and that's the problem. So when you hear somebody tell you about how easy it is or how you should go rent exotic cars, you have to qualify that opinion because if they're not running a rental car company, they're not one to give you advice. And there are ways to make money on Turo, but a lot of people on Turo don't realize that there's a lot of depreciation. So you're using Turo, which they provide some level of comfort with insurance. But one of the cars that we had, the rear window was left open. I don't know if what caused it to be left open, but it rained, ended up killing the car and bricking the car. I paid for the guy's car to be repaired. I towed it to the Lamborghini dealership, had it repaired for him. It was just a body control module or something like that. But that was a $2,000 repair. And ultimately, that guy through Turo got nothing. I think Turo limits their loss of use to like $50 a day. So imagine you have a car that you're paying $4,000 a month on a lease, and it's down for 3 months, and Turo's giving you $50 a day. that's a problem. And that's like, you can try to go after individuals. It's really tough because I don't think individuals insurance are technically required to cover it because it's a peer-to-peer service. It's not a rental. So there are ways to make money on Turo, but I think the ways to make money on Turo are through the Corollas and Camrys for $50 or $70 a day on your $3,000 car, and not necessarily going out and buying a Cullinan and listing it for $800 a day on Turo, which you walk away with $400. A lot of these guys aren't business guys, right? They're taking a platform and throwing something up there, and somebody else is doing the heavy lifting by bringing the customers. So all you're trying to do is like make sure you keep your utilization up by pricing it low enough. That's the wrong problem, because now you're going to start stacking miles on your car, your car's value, and don't go with current market. This current market is going to ruin a lot of people because a lot of people are used to a car gaining value or not losing value. And that's not what happens. You take a Lamborghini and you put 40,000 miles on it, that thing's worth $30,000 less than a comparable car with standard, like 8,000 miles on it. So there are a lot of people in for quite the shock. I'm sure there's a lot of leasing companies out there that are going to be getting a lot of high mileage cars or low mileage cars with a lot of problems because they're rolled back. And we're in for quite the correction. And it's going to be quite the wake-up call for a lot of these Airbnb people and a lot of these Turo people, where they're going to realize they're sitting on very, very overvalued assets and they owe a lot more than they're worth. And the other thing you don't realize is that you're also not only in violation of your insurance agreement on whatever personal policy you have it on, because you're not allowed to rent it out, but you're also out of trust with your bank. So your bank is giving you money to buy a car for personal use. When you're not using it for personal use, but now commercial use, you're out of trust with them and they have to go pull it back. So if they find out that you're renting that car, they will repossess it, and any equity you may or may not have is gone. And I'm telling you, if they're out money, they're going to come after you for it.
For a limited time, Glossett's best ever DIY ceramic coating deal is back. Last year, too many of you ordered it and it broke his site for a little while. But now, just the first 2,000 of you can get Glossett's $150 bottle of graphene ceramic coating for just $69.99, and you get a free $50 bottle of their ceramic detail spray, which makes the application a breeze. So click right now at the link in the description below to get yours.